think it goes for any piece of art, whether it's a painting, whether it's a piece of music, whether it's a film. If there is density and texture that has gone into making a piece of work, then you can see it 2 or 3 times and you'll discover more and more in it. People are still discovering stuff from Pink Floyd, or from Picasso. Far be it for me to sound pompous about it, but it is a layered piece of work, and you can find things in it in a second and third view.
That was probably the most extensive bit of shooting that we did, because Santosh was very spontaneous, very quick, things moved very quickly, but that was the one time I remember we were in that room. It felt like, in my memory, it feels like we were there for like 2 days. And we tried different things, because it's quite melodramatic. What the action that happens is quite a melodramatic moment. So it's like how to do it, make it real. And so there was just a lot of focus going on. All the producers were like huddled around the TV, because it was like the pivotal moment in the movie. It's the turn of the movie. So I can't really say in terms of rehearsal. There's quite a lot of discussion, and then when we did a lot of it, there was quite a bit of rehearsal and then a lot on film. We shot it a lot of angles, a lot of repeating it, and I remember thinking, I don't know if I made the right choice to go, because it wasn't written the way we did it.
We worked hard. We worked hard at that, because there was, there's a grave danger of that scene being cheesy. There's a grave danger, and so none of us were sure about the scene, because in India, when you're doing something like that, there's a danger of getting a bit melodramatic, and we are a melodramatic people, so we had to be very careful. I still think I could have done less in that scene. I still believe it could have been pitched a little lower, but we had to work very hard at making it plausible. We had to, and Santosh wanted that blood part of it happening. So it was a very exhausting day, exhausting night, and we worked very hard at it. But when you have such good actors who can also look at a piece not just from the point of view of their work, but from the point of view of how it's going to look, it becomes a lot easier with actors who can take themselves out of a situation and look at it holistically. And that's what we did, all of us.
Sometimes when you look at your own performance, sometimes cringe and say, why did I do that? And sometimes you say, did I really do that? So, like I said, it was spontaneous. It was what felt right in that moment. That deep, deep sense of betrayal that you feel, So that deep sense of betrayal that you feel when you love someone so much, and you realize that that's the person who sent you away. What choice do you have? You either go back to that awful husband of yours who beats you up, whom you have no love with, and this man whom you're ready to give up your whole life for actually has the audacity to say he doesn't love you, Sometimes I do things that I don't even know. So thank you for making it sound brilliant. It wasn't meant to be. It just happens. I think it just came. And I think acting is not about the dialogue, it's not about just the face, it's not about your hands. It's something that happens collectively, and it only happens when you kind of feel it in that moment, and you can only feel it between that action and cut. It's difficult sometimes to sustain, because there's so many 100 things happening before and after. It's not like that real, it's all make-believe, and you know it at all times that you're playing someone else. So you try and keep the integrity of that emotion and that character just between that action and cut. And I don't know, it's not, I think you can't explain it in words, but sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's amazing. I'm going to watch that, and I'm going to start laughing where everybody else is going, and I'm like, look, she told me about it.
It is not very complicated, because it's always a very difficult thing to come out with this, and you can do a lot of coverage. But I wanted to be candid, and I wanted the camera to be right in between them. So the camera is almost like one of those people who's just there and saw it all.
I think I have the kind of responsibility of representing the decline of the British Empire. In terms of what's left, I mean, he's a broken man and morally, destitute, really. So, I mean, it's like it's an end, the potential for a new beginning, because the truth is out and it's the way things are. So, it's a pitiful place to be, but I didn't sort of plan what the next steps were going to be, but it's just very clear it's an exodus. Well, the comment I made made earlier. I actually didn't really see that as clearly until I saw the movie the second time through. And then I started seeing a lot. It's very nuanced, the film. There's many different layers to it. And it actually is worth more than one viewing because of that. Because in a way, it's a domestic, local story that becomes something epic.
When you're doing the role, you see the smallness of it. You see it at a human level. You just do your part. You become that person. It's only when sometimes in interviews you actually, start thinking that, what is her character? I mean, is it this and that? You start intellectualizing it instead of being spontaneous and just emotionally responding to it. So, in fact, today when I was giving an interview and I was kind of describing Sajani, the character that I played, and someone asked that, so would you say she's moral or immoral? The fact that, we increasingly are getting we're finding it difficult to deal with ambiguity, that we always want to label things, we always want things to be this or that. And like Santosh said, it's not about those black and white things, it's about things that are in that grey area. So she does come from a traditional background, she does get beaten up by her husband, doesn't really think that she can get out of that system, isn't a born rebel or anything, but the love that she feels for more, that's what becomes her conviction, that's what gives her the strength to get out of there. And that's why in her mind it's not a sin, because the love is purer, her intent behind that love is pure enough for her not to feel immoral about herself. And I think these are the complexities and these are the layers that makes the film interesting, because each character you almost think and you almost want to put it in a bracket, and then you think, no, but it's not just that. There's something more to it. And I think that's true for most of the characters in the film.
It's clear that TK is a heroic figure in the film, but if you play a heroic figure like a heroic figure, you're going to crash and burn, because it's so off-putting when there's a sense of smugness and knowing from the actor's part to say, okay, I am now going to be playing this mythic/heroic figure. So personally, I can only speak for myself at this point. I just play the little things and let the bigger picture, it's there, it's on the script. He's making the movie, he's shooting it. So I'm not concerned whether it's a low-angle shot of us rising above, towering over the cliffs in some crazy metaphor, because I can't do anything about it except stand. So I think, personally, I just focused on the small parts that go into making TK, living and breathing as a person, and leave the rest to, the filmmaking and the filmmaker.